February 18th, 2011. The Toronto Maple Leafs trade Tomas Kaberle to the Boston Bruins for Joe Colborne, a 2011 first-round pick, and a 2012 second-round pick. 4 months later, Kaberle wins the Stanley Cup with Boston. Toronto's left holding draft picks and prospects, and what they do next creates a cascading disaster. They give away 2 future All-Stars for nothing. But buried in all that chaos, 2 moves that save everything. 2 players who become cornerstones of Toronto's most competitive era in decades. This is the Tomas Kaberle trade tree, and it's one of the wildest rides in NHL history. Let's start with who Tomas Kaberle was in 2011. 12 seasons in Toronto, 878 games, 437 assists, 4 All-Star appearances, the best offensive defenseman in Leafs history since Borje Salming. But by 2011, the Leafs are going nowhere. They haven't made the playoffs since 2004. They're rebuilding. Again. And Kaberle? He's 32 years old, unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. So Brian Burke makes the call. Trade him now. Get something back before he walks for nothing. Enter the Boston Bruins. They're cup contenders. They need a puck-moving defenseman for the playoff run. Toronto receives Joe Colborne, Boston's 2012 second-round pick, and their 2011 first-round pick. 4 months later, Kaberle's hoisting the cup, and it's not like he was just along for the ride. Kaberle played 25 playoff games with Boston, 11 assists, plus 8 rating, tied for most assists among Bruins defensemen, 3 assists in the Cup Finals. He didn't just win, he was a key piece. Toronto traded him away and watched him dominate immediately. Now here's where it gets interesting. Let's talk about that 2012 second-round pick from Boston, 54th overall. Instead of using it at the draft, Toronto flips it to Colorado for John Michael Liles. On paper, it looks like a smart move. Liles is a veteran coming off a 46-point season, exactly the kind of puck-moving defenseman the Leafs need. But in reality, it's just another short-term patch. Liles plays 3 seasons in Toronto, only 104 games with injuries and healthy scratches piling up. By January 2014, the Leafs are ready to move on. They package Liles with prospect Dennis Robertson and send them to Carolina for Tim Gleason. Gleason is a defensive defenseman, decent, but nothing special. He gives Toronto 39 games, then walks as a free agent and heads right back to Carolina. Just like that, the asset chain is broken. Toronto's return for that second-round pick, 2 depth defensemen and a handful of forgettable games. And remember, that was only one piece of the Kaberle trade. The other 2 assets? That's where the story really goes off the rails. Boston's 2011 first-round pick. Toronto's sitting at 30th overall. They want to move up. Anaheim's sitting at 22nd. They're willing to deal. Toronto trades picks 30 and 39 to Anaheim. They move up to 22nd overall. And they select Tyler Biggs. Power forward, USA hockey product. Big body, grit. Anaheim? They take those 2 picks and draft 30th overall Rickard Rakell and 39th overall John Gibson. Rakell has played 811 NHL games, 527 points, still playing today. Gibson has played 512 NHL games, a Vezina Trophy finalist, one of the best goalies of the 10s. And Tyler Biggs, 26 AHL games with Toronto's farm team, 0 NHL games, July 1st, 2015. 4 years after drafting him, Toronto's done. They packaged Tyler Biggs with Phil Kessel, Tim Erickson, and a conditional 2016 second-rounder to Pittsburgh. In return, Nick Spalding, a 2016 first-round pick, Scott Harrington, a 2016 third-round pick, and Kasperi Kapanen. Kessel's time in Pittsburgh: 328 regular season games, 110 goals, 303 points, 65 playoff games, 20 goals, 56 points, 2 Stanley Cups. Kessel won back-to-back championships in 2016 and 2017, while Toronto was still trying to figure out what a rebuild looked like. We'll come back to Nick Spalding and that 2016 first-rounder in a minute, but that 2016 third-rounder? Toronto drafts J.D. Greenway, 72nd overall, 0 NHL games. Scott Harrington, 15 games, 1 point. In June 2016, Harrington and a 2017 conditional 5th sent to Columbus for Kirby Reichel. Reichel never plays a game for Toronto. In February 2018, Reichel, Rinat Valiev, and a 2018 second-rounder are sent to Montreal for Tomas Plekanec and Kyle Baun. Plekanec plays 17 regular season games, 7 playoff games, then signs back with Montreal. Kyle Baun never plays in the NHL. Now, Kasperi Kapanen, he's the one bright spot. 202 games, 90 points, legitimate NHL player. But in August 2020, Toronto trades him back to Pittsburgh with Pontus Aberg and Jesper Lindgren for David Warsofsky, Evan Rodriguez, Philip Hallander, and a 2020 first-round pick. Warsofsky was traded with Igor Korshkov to Carolina for Alex Galchenyuk. Galchenyuk played 26 games and was gone. Rodriguez re-signed with Pittsburgh just 2 months after the trade. Hallander never makes the NHL. And with the 2020 first-round pick, 15th overall, the Leafs take Rodion Amirov, who tragically passed away from brain cancer in August 2023 before ever playing an NHL game. A complete and utter disaster. Alright, let's finish this. Joe Colborne. Remember him, 16 games with Toronto. On September 29, 2013, Toronto trades him to Calgary for a 2014 fourth-round pick. In June 2014, that fourth-rounder gets packaged with Carl Gunnarsson and shipped to St. Louis for Roman Polak. Polak plays 111 games, 22 points with Toronto. Solid depth defenseman. Nothing spectacular, but he's actually playing NHL hockey. That's progress, right? February 22, 2016. Polak and Nick Spalding, remember him from the Kessel trade, get sent to San Jose for Rafi Torres, a 2018 second-round pick, and a 2017 second-round pick. Torres never plays for Toronto. But those picks are about to do some heavy lifting. That 2018 second-rounder becomes Sean Durzi, 52nd overall. He never plays for Toronto either. But in January 2019, Toronto packages Durzi with Carl Grundstrom and a 2019 first-round pick and ships them to Los Angeles for Jake Muzzin. Now we're talking. Muzzin plays 187 games for Toronto, 71 points, legitimate top 4 defenseman. He retired in 2023 due to a spinal injury, but for 4 years, he was exactly what Toronto needed. Now, that 2017 second-rounder? June 20th, 2016. Toronto takes that pick and the 2016 first-rounder from the Kessel trade, Sam Steele, 30 overall, and trades both to Anaheim for Frederik Andersen. And this is where the tree finally pays off. Andersen plays 268 games for Toronto, 119 wins. He's their starting goalie for 5 seasons. He's the stability they desperately needed. In July 2021, Andersen signs with Carolina as a free agent, and this trade tree finally comes to an end. So let's do the math. Let's add it all up, because numbers don't lie. With Boston, Kaberle won the Stanley Cup 4 months after the trade. Kaberle played 14 regular season games with Boston, then 25 playoff games as they marched to the championship. He was part of their defensive core. He was on the ice when they raised the cup. Toronto traded him away and watched him win immediately. From that trade tree, Toronto got 1,131 regular season games played and 375 points. That's it. That's what they got for trading their franchise defenseman. 1,131 games, 375 points, spread across 15 different players. The only legitimate NHL contributors, Frederik Andersen, Jake Muzzin, and Roman Polak. Everyone else? Depth pieces, AHL players, or complete busts. So, what's the lesson here? What did Toronto learn? They learned that panic is poison. They learned that desperation leads to disaster. They learned that trading away assets and constantly flipping pieces without a clear direction is organizational suicide. They learned that patience isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And here's the thing, Toronto did learn. Look at their front office now. Kyle Dubas came in and rebuilt through the draft. Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander. They stopped mortgaging the future. They stopped chasing quick fixes. They built a core. The Kaberle trade tree is a cautionary tale. It's a reminder that in the NHL, impatience costs you everything. It's a reminder that one trade doesn't just hurt you once, it cascades. It compounds. It follows you for a decade. Toronto traded Tomas Kaberle in 2011. They didn't escape the consequences until 2021. 10 years of watching him win a cup 4 months later. 10 years of watching other teams win with pieces they gave away. 10 years of watching their own pieces fail. But they learned. And that's the only silver lining in this entire disaster. They learned the hard way, and they'll never make this mistake again. So there it is, the Tomas Kaberle trade tree. 10 years, 15 players, 1 Stanley Cup for Boston, and a decade of pain for Toronto. But here's my question for you. What's the worst trade in Maple Leafs history? Is it Kaberle? Is it Rask for Raycroft? Is it trading away draft picks for rentals that never worked? Drop your take in the comments below. Let's settle this once and for all. And if you want more NHL trade disasters, more forgotten legends, and more deep dives into the trades that shaped the league, hit that subscribe button. We've got a whole series breaking down the worst and best trade trees in NHL history. Next up, we're diving into another franchise-altering disaster. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.